I'm about to the point where I'm ready to start finishing up my weaving. This is the bottom of the weaving. I'm working this way from the top where the straws are, and I've been pushing it down off the straws as I go, and I'm trying to keep it pretty close together, pretty tight as I push it down, but I'm getting so that I feel like I'm ready to start tying off this bottom end. So I'm going to push all this kind of close together so that we don't have a bunch of gaps. You want your weaving to look nice and neat and even, and you're just going to take your strings and again you're going to try to make that little knot and pull all 4 strings through. Okay, so there's all of those. You can even pull your little tail string through if you want to. That'll give it a place to go. And then pull that knot tight so that it's kind of like this on what was your bottom end. And again, don't worry about these tails, we'll cut those off soon. That end looks really nice. So now this is the top end where we have our little straw loom. And this is the last bit I have left. So again, I left this little piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wrap it around whatever straw I finish on. I'm going to leave that little gap right there, and I'm just going to pull it through to make a little knot. That'll help me keep it in place. If you don't get that part and you just end up with a little loose tail, it'll probably be okay too. Alright, so now you can either pull this tape off of your straws, which is kind of tricky to me. Some of them will come off easy, but if you're having a hard time, you can just cut the little tips where the tape is off, and you can still reuse this straw loom several times even if you cut the tips off. That's why mine's getting a little bit short now. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep all this nice and neat together. I'm pinching these as I go because I don't want my whole loom to fall apart. Okay, there's my little white string. So I want to hold on tight to these white strings right here. Alright, so I'm sliding this down. This is just the tail from where I tied it off a second ago. I'm going to kind of slide it so that it's all together right there. And then again, I'm going to make a knot on this end. Loop it around and stick all those little ends through. If you miss any pieces, then that part of your loom may fall out. Make sure I got all those white ones. There's one. And now I'm going to pull that knot down. So it looks kind of like this. Alright, so now let's trim off any pieces that you don't want. So these where I tied on new colors, you want to be careful that you trim it on the end past the knot, not the part closest to where you're weaving, or you'll get a hole. So I'm going to kind of put my fingers where my knot is. And I'm just going to cut those off right next to my knot. And you can even kind of tuck that into your weaving like that. Alright, so here's another one that's sticking out. Just trim it on the outside there. I've got one little tail sticking out there. So I'm going to trim it off. I'm going to flip it over and look for any tails on the other side. And then on your ends, you can leave them a little uneven, or if you want to trim them so that they're a little more even like that, you can do that too. So when you finish, you'll have something like this. If you used longer yarn, you'll have a longer piece. If you had a small wrist, this would be a cute little bracelet. It also makes a great bookmark.